So you've been hearing a lot about Coral Gables, this hidden gem in Miami, this wonderful neighborhood. But is it overrated? In this video, we're going to share the truth with you. If you're like many, you've probably heard about the tree-lined streets, the prestige living here, all the golf courses, the dog parks, and all that. But is there more to it? Do you know about all the restrictions in Coral Gables? Do you know about the really small lots? About a home that if you buy, you may not be able to renovate? There are a lot of things about Coral Gables that you don't know about. We've broken this video into 5 different parts. The first part is the lifestyle. How is it to live in Coral Gables? Number 2, the pros and cons. Number 3, the cost of living. Number 4, the future of Coral Gables. And number 5, my favorite part, Amits Ratings. I'm going to share multiple ratings on different things in Coral Gables to give you a much better idea of how Coral Gables is for most people. So how is a day in the life of Coral Gables? So I'm going to share with you maybe my best day there. And in this one, I'm not going to have my wife in it. I'm going to have my friend Jimmy and Ryan instead. So the day begins with us going to the Biltmore Hotel. And the Biltmore Hotel, for those of you that don't know it, it's been in many movies. It's this really, really cool hotel that has this amazing swimming pool. It has tennis courts, a golf course. They have this amazing brunch, and you're by the swimming pool. And after brunch, we're like, let's play golf. I've never played golf, but I figure, maybe I had a mimosa or something, so I felt like maybe I can try something differently. So I try it. I play golf. After that, we're thinking about, we had breakfast, lunch, brunch, but we want to just consider it breakfast so we could eat more. So then we go down the street to Bashir. Bashir is this bakery. It's a Puerto Rican chef. He was Esquire magazine's top-rated chef one of these many years ago, and the place is amazing. And the food doesn't just taste great, it looks great. It's an Instagrammable place by far. So after we do that, the next thing we do is we go to Matheson Hammock Park. Matheson Hammock Park is pretty far from there. Coral Gables is sort of confusing for those that don't know it, and that's why you'd probably want to speak to a real estate professional or Google Maps to find out exactly where it is. So we go to Matheson Hammock Park. It's pretty cool because it's waterfront and you can barbecue, and there's great walkability. So we do that. We walk around Matheson Hammock Park, and then of course we're hungry again. So one of the best pizza places in the world, and it's been rated this way, is O Monocielo. I'm probably pronouncing it incorrectly. It's on Coral Way, and they have this Italian, beautiful, it's the best pizza in the world. And for me, it's really quick. The crust is amazing. They have this spicy pepperoni pizza, and I could eat there every day. So that's what we would do for dinner. And then after that, maybe we walk around, because Coral Gables is amazing with the tree-lined streets, with the Mediterranean architecture, and very, very different than most parts of Miami. And that would be a perfect day for me. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, do all the things. It helps us. So how's the community vibe in Coral Gables? It's very, very good for people that want to be involved in their community. Whatever different thing about Coral Gables, whether it's zoning, whether it's something in the schools, whatever it is, the community is very, very involved. If you don't like to be involved, Coral Gables is probably the wrong place for you. But if you're into all the events, you really want to know what's going on in your community, it's the perfect place to live. Living in Coral Gables is great for those that like to walk. It's the perfect place. The walkability is amazing. The architecture, you see all these Mediterranean type homes, and also in Coral Gables, you see some of the most expensive homes in the world. And so you'll see modern, old Spanish, you'll see all these different things. And also while you're walking, you're gonna see all these tree-lined streets. So really, really cool. We did an article, and it's gonna be in the description. One of the links is gonna be there, where we talked about dog-friendly parks. There were 27 in Coral Gables. It's amazing. 4 golf courses, numerous tennis courts, clay courts, hard courts, so many different things. So if you're active, you would love living in Coral Gables. So how's the energy in Coral Gables? It's pretty high. There's so many young people that live in Coral Gables. These young professionals. We just sold a home to someone in finance, probably about 30 years old, had the nicest BMW, had a great job, and bought a home in a neighborhood where there's similar people as him and his wife. And they're always thinking about things to do. And you get this vibe the whole time you're in Coral Gables. Coral Gables is sort of diverse though. You're gonna get these young people, but you're also gonna get people that have lived there for 40, 50 years. So they're gonna age, and they're gonna do things like maybe golf or play tennis or things like that. Also with Coral Gables, the prestige. It's very prestigious when someone is writing their address on their envelope and they write Coral Gables. There's a certain pride into doing that. And a lot of people, when someone says, "Where do you live?" and they say Coral Gables, sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, Coral Gables." So there's definitely prestige with that. So the energy is great. There's so many different restaurants, so many different things to do, because there's so many affluent people there, and they come from all over the world. You get to see all these different restaurants, these different types of businesses. So the vibe is really cool to live in Coral Gables. Before I tell you why you shouldn't move to Coral Gables, I'm gonna tell you a bunch of reasons why you should. First thing, Coral Gables, like I mentioned, it's very prestigious. It's a nice neighborhood. If you're active and want to be involved in the community, the perfect place to live. Luxury real estate is all over Coral Gables. Values go up always. It's a community where people want to live in forever. They move there and they want to just keep upgrading homes if they can, or downsizing if their kids moved. So Coral Gables is great like that. It's prestigious. There's so many things to do. The homes are nice. So many different types of homes, architecture. Some of the most expensive communities in the world are in Coral Gables, like Gables Estates and other areas. There's Venetian pools, so many things to do that people enjoy, whether they have kids, they're older, or they're tourists. They're always visiting Coral Gables. So what are the negatives? There are a lot of negatives, and this may disqualify a lot of you guys. One of the things is people are sort of into your business because you live so close to everyone, and because people are involved, they know what's going on. So if you're a little bit private, unless you can afford a very, very big home with a big lot, you're gonna be pretty close to your neighbor. So that might not be the best thing. Also, if you've ever not wanted to live in an HOA because of restrictions, Coral Gables may not be the right place for you. There's so many restrictions, and it's eased up over the years, but growing up in Miami, in my 51 years living here, in the past, up until not that many years ago, you couldn't have a pickup truck in your front yard. You'd get fined for that. Some crazy stuff. Also, the parking sucks in Coral Gables. You have to figure out where to park. You have to add another 10 minutes to half an hour to wherever you're going to figure out where to park. Another thing is, Coral Gables is super confusing. It's not a grid like most of the parts of Miami where you have streets and avenues. Some of Coral Gables is like that, but for the majority, there are names. And yeah, you can use Google Maps, you can use Waze and all that, but for the most part, if you're trying to figure out where something is, you're not gonna have a clue. And if you're moving there, it's gonna take you forever to figure it out. Another thing that's terrible about Coral Gables are the taxes and the price of real estate, but we're gonna get into that later in the video. So those are some of the cons for living in Coral Gables. Do you live in Coral Gables? If you do, I'd love to hear from you. Make sure to comment below what your favorite part of Coral Gables is, and brag a little bit. Let us know how long you've lived here. And if you're thinking about moving to Coral Gables, make sure to tell us why, and maybe you guys can interact within the comments. Coral Gables, the location of Coral Gables can be very convenient for some, but be very poor for others. The main reason is Coral Gables is a large area. If you go as far south as Pinecrest, close to Palmetto Bay, you could have parts of Coral Gables there. But if you go much further down by Coconut Grove, you're gonna have Coral Gables there. So depending on where in Coral Gables, depends on the location and how good the location is. If you're living in North Coral Gables and you're thinking about going to the airport a lot, Brickell, downtown, South Beach, all places like that, bars, places to go to do things at night, if that's your lifestyle, Coral Gables location is pretty good because you're sort of central. If you're living further south in Coral Gables, those are more single family homes, less of the condos and townhomes. You're gonna probably be a little bit older and you're probably not gonna wanna go to do all of those things. So the location might be good for you too. So it just depends on the person. One of the things people love about Coral Gables location is there's so many shops by there. There's an area called Miracle Mile and you can walk and walk and walk and walk and you're gonna see tons of shops, restaurants, different boutique type stores. There's another place called Merrick Park, a little bit further away from there, a little bit south of there. And you're gonna have some of the most expensive shops in the country there and an amazing movie theater where it's not like the movie theaters of the past. You're gonna have awesome food, drinks, and everything else. So Merrick Park is great, Miracle Mile is great, and that's just one of the big benefits of living in Coral Gables. So how private is Coral Gables? How's the security? How is that? It's a mix. So one of the most expensive neighborhoods, communities in the world is Gables Estates. These are people that are the wealthiest of the wealthy, and to get in there is extremely difficult. Being a real estate agent and selling properties there and other places, it's not as hard to get in there, but it's still very difficult. So if you have a ton of money and you are very, very private, that's the place to live in. There are many gated communities in Coral Gables for single family homes, and you have condos as well with security. So it's pretty secure. But for the single family homes, how's the security? It's just okay. Your homes are very close to your neighbors. The lots are incredibly small. So there's gonna be a lot of people living in a very small area. And if I was a thief, not that I am, but if I was, I would probably wanna go in an area where I can hit a bunch of homes really quickly and get out. Not that I'm gonna do it, but so the security isn't always that great there. So how's the architecture in Coral Gables? It's very, very diverse. You're gonna see a bunch of old Spanish type homes, historical homes, bunch of Mediterranean homes. It's very cool though too, because some of these homes built in the 20s, 30s, or whenever they're built are totally renovated. And you get the modern with that same old type feel, which is really cool to just walk and drive and see these homes. You're also gonna get to see these huge mansions, these ultra luxury mansions that are very modern because some of the richest people wanna live in Coral Gables as well. And you're gonna see those modern type homes as well. And you're gonna also see a lot of teardowns, sadly. These homes where the lots have gone up so much in value, where the house isn't worth much, where developers are looking to buy these types of homes and just tear them down and build these new townhomes or single family homes that are much more modern. So how are the schools in Coral Gables? They're very good. A lot of people move there because of the schools. And the schools, besides the public schools, you also have a lot of good private schools as well. The problem though is they also have a lot of schools that aren't that great, just like many areas in the country. So you need to speak to a professional or do your own research to find out if you bought a home in this area, where would your kids go to school? Because a lot of schools are great, but there's some that aren't very good. So in Coral Gables, 3 notable schools that I hear about over and over and over from my clients: George Washington Carver, Coral Gables Prep Academy, Gulliver. These schools are amazing based on what I've told. And I would definitely recommend you do your own research, but I just keep hearing about these over and over and over again. So how's the weather in Coral Gables? Just similar to Miami. You know, since you're not really by water, if you are in a gated community, if you're living in Gables Estates, and you have a $50 or $60 million home, your weather's probably gonna be a little bit better because you're on the water, you're getting that breeze, and you're feeling it. But for the most part, the weather in Coral Gables is really good for the most part. That's why people are coming here throughout the year. It doesn't get too cold. It's very hot in the summer. It rains a lot, so that's not great. But for the most part, 10 months of the year, the weather's probably gonna be between 60 and 90, and usually a little bit less than 90. So the weather is something that most people around the world envy from Coral Gables. So hurricanes and flood zones, these are things we get asked about all the time. Hurricanes. I've lived here 51 years and we've had 3 hurricanes. Every year, I'll be honest with you, every year we do get a hurricane warning, and you get scared and you think this is the year that we get hit with the hurricane. And usually at the last minute, it veers off to the right, to the left, or somewhere else, and we've been saved. And within those 3 hurricanes, one was bad. Hurricane Andrew in 1992 was pretty bad. It wasn't in Coral Gables. I don't think any of these hurricanes that I've experienced have really done too much damage to Coral Gables. Doesn't mean that that's gonna be in the future, but just from past experience. Good thing about Coral Gables is because the real estate is relatively expensive, they have a lot of storm proofing, hurricane proofing. You have impact windows, accordion shutters, other hurricane shutters. So you see that all the time. And so you'll be protected well. Worst case, you may have to evacuate during that time. But for me and most people that live here, it's something we don't worry about. Obviously, if you're from out of town, it's gonna be something that's on your mind, but we would just tell you it's okay. As far as flood zones, there are gonna be areas of Coral Gables that are in flood zones. But most people that live in those flood zones don't even know that they live in those flood zones because it never floods. So if this is something that you're concerned about, make sure you speak to a professional and we'll share with you the exact information. But for many, it's something we don't really worry about. So how much does it cost to move to Coral Gables? It's not that cheap. So I'm doing a search right now of single family homes and condos. Right now, there are 334 homes available for sale, both condos, townhomes, and single family homes. Out of those, there are 179 single family homes. And for this search, I'm gonna show you the most expensive single family home, the least expensive single family home, and about what it costs to get an average single family home. Forget about the condos and townhomes for now. So out of these 179, we have the least expensive single family home in Coral Gables today is $840,000. So this home is on 702 Boa Badia Street. It is built in 1944. It's pretty small. It's 952 square feet. So close to 1,000 a square foot, 900 a square foot, something like that. This property is 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. Sort of sucks to have 3 bedrooms and only 1 bathroom. Let me see, what else? The lot size, like most of Coral Gables, is very small. It's 8,000 square feet. Just to give you perspective, an acre is 43,560 square feet. So this would be, let me see, 43, less than 1/5 of an acre. So less than 20% of an acre. So let me take a look at the photos so you can see them. It's a very small home. They tried to update it a bit, but at the end of the day, it's a 1944 old home that has a small yard and needs to be renovated. Kitchen looks okay. Okay, so that's the least expensive. Now let's look at the most expensive. So the most expensive is quite a bit different than that. It's 69 million. And this isn't even in the most expensive community called Gables Estates. This is in another community called Journey's End. Journey's End is really cool. We're gonna do a video on Journey's End this week. And Journey's End, the homes are huge. So for 69 million, what do you get? So under AC, you have 12,159 square feet, huge. The lot is more than 2 acres actually. It is 90,000 square feet. Again, 2 acres is about 47,000 square feet. This is 90,000 square feet. So it's huge. This was built in 2003. Let me see, of course it has a swimming pool. Let's take a look at some of the photos. It's a beautiful home. It's waterfront, so you could have your boat back there. The problem with this home, not that there's a problem with the $69 million home, but pre-COVID, this probably would have been 30 million. So it's gone up, double, more than double. We don't know what it'll sell for, but it's beautiful. The location is great. The house is really nice. It's very different home because of some of it has terrazzo floors, right? Terrazzo floors growing up was like, ew, terrazzo floors, but these look beautiful. And at the end of the day, this property is gorgeous. So that's probably not gonna be the average property that you guys buy. So I'm gonna share with you an average property and how much it cost. I could look at those 46 photos forever, but I will continue. So if there are 140 something properties for sale, let's look at number 74. So number 74 is 690 Calatrava Avenue. So this one is $3.9 million. It is 5 bedrooms, 4 baths and a half bath, 4,200 square feet. So that's about average what you would pay for something in Coral Gables, close to $4 million. The lot is probably gonna be small. It's 17,000, basically 18,000 square feet. So it's an 18,000 square foot lot, so definitely less than a half acre. Has a 2-car garage, a swimming pool. It doesn't look like a $4 million home, but it is. It looks okay. If you were to think about homes that you see on TV shows, like on HGTV and stuff like that, if you looked at this home, you would think of it as like a $1.5 million home anywhere in the country. Spacious, it's nice, renovated, but for $4 million, it's a lot. And that's what you're gonna see in Coral Gables. So those are gonna be the prices of homes in Coral Gables. Another thing about Coral Gables, as I mentioned, are taxes. Other like cons of living in Coral Gables, taxes. Taxes are roughly 2% of the property's value. So if you buy this home and it's $4 million, your taxes are gonna be a little bit less than 80,000, probably 65, 70, 75,000. If you live in your home and this is your primary residence, your taxes can only go up 3% a year. So you'll be saved if you live there a long time. Another thing is homeowners insurance. It's very expensive. For this $4 million home, I can imagine the homeowners insurance being about $25,000 a year. So another couple grand a month, plus the $80,000 for taxes. So it's very expensive. Do you want to know a lot more about Coral Gables? A bunch of stuff that I didn't even mention? Make sure to click on the link in the description. So what's the future of Coral Gables? What does it have in store? I think it's going to be pretty much the same as it is. It's one of the oldest cities in Florida, built in the 20s, and everything there is like a little bit slower paced with architecture and other things. The community is always going to be involved. The real estate values are going to continue to go up and up and up. It's a very desirable place to live. And I think that's always going to be the case. There are way less tenants that live in Coral Gables, so the values go up. There are going to be some buildings and condos where there are people that are renting, but for the most part, when you have so many end users, the values maintain their value and go up a lot. So Coral Gables today, tomorrow, 10 years from now is probably going to be the same, maybe a little bit better. So my favorite part, Amit's Ratings. So let's check out some of my ratings on these different things. Daily life and vibe. How would it be for me, my daily life, if I lived in Coral Gables? For me, I'd probably give it a 4. I drive a lot. I drive, I park, I do things. Coral Gables is terrible for that. It's horrible. You gotta figure out where to park. You have all these meters and stuff. So for me, it's not good. If you don't need to drive, if you're walking where you live and playing where you live, it's probably perfect for you. But for me, it's a 4. Location and prestige. It's probably an 8. The location and prestige is really good. Everyone that lives in Coral Gables is proud to say they live in Coral Gables. So it's pretty high. The location is very good, but it's not perfect because Coral Gables is pretty big and it depends on where you live in Coral Gables. If you live in South Coral Gables and you go to Miami Beach a lot, it's not going to be a good location. So waterfront living and views. A 6. If you're wealthy enough to live in one of these gated communities that has water, it's amazing and it's very nice, but it's super expensive. But for the most part, there's not really waterfront views in Coral Gables. There are nice views for the greenery, the architecture and stuff, but for the most part, it's okay. Amenities and lifestyle. That's a 10. If you have a dog, the perfect place to live in Coral Gables. 27 dog-friendly parks in Coral Gables. Coral Gables, if I'm not mistaken, is home to about 50,000 residents. So that's a lot of parks for that. It's huge. Also, lots of golf courts, tennis courts, so many different things to do. Dining, shopping, there's tons of stuff to do. Merrick Park is great, Miracle Mile. Privacy and security, a 7. In certain parts of Coral Gables, it's amazing, and in many parts, it's not. It's just okay. The homes are so close together, and some of them are older. Some of them aren't really, because they're older, they don't have some of the conveniences and the safeguards for security, so not that great, and because of that, thieves will go there. But as with all security stuff, do your own research. Don't take my word for it. Architectural features, 10 out of 10. Coral Gables is amazing with their architecture. If you want to go to a place that is totally different than almost every other part of Miami, go to Coral Gables and you'll see some of the coolest homes that you've seen before. Community engagement and local interaction, 10 out of 10. The community is very engaged and they're into everything. All the new zoning, the school stuff, everything about Coral Gables, they're very, very engaged. Cost of living. Cost of living is probably 3. It's very expensive to live in Coral Gables. As you saw while I was going over the homes, an average single-family home that's on a small lot is about $4 million, and your taxes are close to 80, and your hurricane insurance is close to 20,000 or more. So it's very expensive to live in Coral Gables, so the cost of living isn't that great. Green space and outdoor living, a 9. The green space is amazing in Coral Gables. So many parks, so many golf courses, so much greenery, just even in the streets, the canopy-lined streets with these with these trees that look beautiful. And they specifically do this on purpose. So when you drive in and drive out of Coral Gables, you just know you're there. It's amazing. Climate resilience. 7, I think Miami, the climate resilience is pretty much similar with most places. It's okay. There are flood zones. There are some places that aren't flood zones. And, you know, depending on where you live in Coral Gables, you may have to evacuate during a hurricane. So that gives us a total of 74 points for Coral Gables. A little bit less than Pinecrest at 82, but higher than Coconut Grove at 73, Fisher Island at 64, and South Miami at 60. I know Coral Gables well. I've been going there since my early teens. If this video didn't have enough information for you, we got 20 articles that will share a ton more about Coral Gables, even a neighborhood video that shares with you everything about Coral Gables. Make sure to click on the link in the description and subscribe if you like this content.